Okay, so I'm gonna make these boot cuffs, and they're pretty easy, not real hard. You know, your boot goes about here, and then you got the cuff on it. For this project, I don't have the tag, but this is Caron Simply Soft yarn, and all it is a 4-ply acrylic yarn. So any 4-ply yarn that you have will work. It doesn't have to be this brand. And I'm going to be using a size I, which is a 5.5mm crochet hook. Now you can make these pretty much any size that you want. I kind of made them just to fit my leg, or probably just average, I guess. But if you have a bigger or smaller statute, what you want to do is make a chain to fit around the portion, the portion that you want the top to be. Like here's here's the top. Make a chain that's going to fit around, like if you want it around your calf, that's usually where it goes. Make a chain to fit around your calf and make it kind of snug so it's not going to slide down or anything. But for mine, which is probably just about average, I did a chain of 40. Now if you do a different chain than me, only thing is it has to be done in a multiple of 2, so an even number. Other than that, it's pretty easy to get it any size that you want. So I started with a chain of 40. Once you get your chain made, and without twisting it, you want to go ahead and slip stitch into the first stitch way down here to form a ring. Like that. Now we're going to be working double crochets. So I'm going to start off with a chain of 3. And that chain 3 is going to count as our first double crochet. Now we're going to work around, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around for the length of the chain until you get back to the beginning. So it's just 1 in every stitch. And you want to make sure, if you're following along with me, that you're keeping your stitch count of 40. Or if you did a different number to fit around your leg size, you just need to make sure you keep that count. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way around with my 1 double crochet in every stitch. Okay, once you made it back around with that row of double crochet, and you counted and you have the correct number of stitches, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of this chain 3. Like that. Now we're going to be working front post double crochets. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a chain of 2. That chain of 2 is going to count as a half double crochet. Now we're going to go to this next stitch and we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to do it around the post though. So we're going to yarn over and kind of just go right around the post. Like that, and then we kind of just finish out our double crochet like that. And then we're going to go to the next stitch, which is right here, and half double crochet in the top of it. Like that. Now the next stitch we will do the double crochet around the post. So we're going to yarn over, go right around the post, and double crochet. Now the next one, we're going to half double in the top of the stitch. So that's kind of the repeat all the way around. The next one, right here, is going to be a double around the post, around the post, and we're just going to keep doing this. The next one right here, half double crochet into the top. And we want to do this until we get back to the beginning, just repeating this pattern. The next one right here, double around the post. The next one, half double onto the top. And then you go to the next one, which is right here, half double, or I'm sorry, double around the post. So I'm going to do this until I get all the way around. Okay, when you make it back around, my last stitch was a double crochet around the post, and then I'm back at the beginning. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of that chain 2. So actually now I'm just going to keep repeating that last row. So I'm going to start by chaining 2 again, and I'm going to jump to the next stitch, which is this post stitch right here, and double crochet around the post. Like that. And then the next stitch, which is, you kind of pull this over, but right here, half double crochet in it, like that. And then my next one is going to be around the post right here, double crochet around the post, and then the next one, half double crochet, which is the spot right here. So I'm repeating what I just did, which means that all my posts are going to line up like that. We're going to be always going to be doing front post double crochet on a front post double crochet, and I'm always going to be half doubling on the half double from the row before, so the posts always line up. So the next one is a double crochet around this post of the previous stitch. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it, I think. And then the next one, pulled over, is the top of this half double. It's right here, half double in that spot. And then double crochet around the post right here. Just keep your posts lined up, that's all you got to do, and it'll work out for you. And now I'm just going to keep repeating this row until I get the cuff part. I mean, you can kind of do it as thick as you want. There's not really any specific pattern that says you have to do it a certain way. And I always kind of just make my stuff up, so you can do it for as many rows as you want. I did it for 6 rows total, so I'm going to go ahead and finish them out. But remember, you can always do it. You can do it more or less. Okay, I went ahead and got my 6 rows done, and that was 6 rows counting that very first row of double crochets that we did. But remember, that's just, if you want the cuff part to be bigger or smaller, it's up to you. Go ahead and slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain 2. Now we're going to do a row of bobble stitches. Now in order for to make the bobbles look right, you have to work them backwards. So what I'm going to do is chain 1, and then I'm going to turn my work, and now I'm going to start working this way. That way the bobbles will be on the back side, but it'll actually be the right side, if that makes any sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to this next stitch, and I'm going to do it's called a double crochet 4 together bobble. So what I'm going to do is yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. I'm going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Okay? I'm going to do that 4 times. So that's 1. I'm going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2. That's 2 times. Again, yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops. So that's 3 times. One more time. yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, and after that you should have a total of 5 loops on your hook, and I do. Then you want to yarn over and go through all 5 like that, and then I always kind of pull it tight. And now I'm just going to come right down to the next stitch and single crochet in it, just like that. And you can see when you flip it, your bobble is on the right side. Okay, now I'm going to start working in the next one, doing the same thing again. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2. And I want to do that 4 times, so that's 1, 2 times, three times, and 4 times. And you know you did it enough when you have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through all 5, pull it tight, and single crochet directly into the next stitch. And that is a double crochet, 4 together bobble stitch. Okay, go ahead and do it again to the next stitch. Just 1 time. 2 times. 3 times. 4 times. 5 loops. Go through all 5. Pull it tight. Single crochet into the next stitch. And that is what I'm going to repeat all the way around, and I'll have my row of bobble stitches. Just like that. So I'm going to keep going all the way around. Okay, once you make it all the way around, you should have had a room to do a single crochet here in this last stitch here. And then what we're going to do is slip stitch into the top of the very first bobble stitch. If it didn't come out completely even, it's not that big of a deal. I wouldn't worry about it, but go ahead and you can see the bobbles here. This stitch right here behind it or on top of it. Just go right into it and slip stitch. And that's how that looks so far. Now we need to get it turned back around, so when we do the rest of it, it's facing the right side, because remember we turned it around to get them bobbles right. So what we're going to do is just chain 1, turn it back around, and now is going to be pretty easy. Now it's just rounds of single crochet. So you're gonna want to get a stitch marker. I'm just going to use this piece of yarn. So what we're going to do is start off by doing 1 single crochet in every stitch along the top here. So if you look, what you want to do is, I'm going to go ahead and single crochet into that stitch that I just slip stitched into the top of this bobble. Go ahead and single crochet in it like that. So that'll be our first one, and then the next one is going to be kind of right here beside the next bobble. Single crochet, and then the next one is on top of the next bobble. Kind of, if you flip it up, you can kind of see it back here. It's actually kind of towards the back, but it's this big loop back here. And single crochet, and then single crochet right here beside the next bobble, and then the next one is on top of this bobble. So if you kind of flip it, you can see it. This big one back here. Single, and then you gotta get the stitch right beside it. Single, and then right back here on top of the bobble. Single. The next one's right here on the side. Single, and then on top of the bobble. Just gotta kind of flip it to see it. Single, and I'm just going to do this one single crochet in each of these stitches all the way around until I get back to the beginning. After this row, they won't be hard to see anymore. They're just a little hard to see, I guess, the ones on top of the bobbles, but if you just kind of pull the bobble stitches back, you'll see them. Like that. Okay, once you make it all the way around, now we're just going to start working rounds of single crochet. So I'm just going to use my stitch marker now, and I'm going to go ahead and place it here so I know where the beginning is and where the end is. So now I'm just going to go ahead and jump over to my very first single crochet and single crochet in it. Like that, and I'm going to work around putting one single crochet in every single stitch. See, you can see them a lot better now. Just like that until I get back to my stitch marker. And when you make it back around to your stitch marker, you just want to pull it out and move it up like that, and then continue around again with another row of one single crochet in every stitch. And I'm just going to keep doing this every time I get back around to my stitch marker. Just move it up, go around again, and I want to do this for a total of, well, I did 12 rows or 12 rounds of single crochet. See, we're on our third one right now, so I did 12. But if you don't want this much to go down into your boot, I mean, you can cut it off a lot shorter. That's completely up to you, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish my 12 out to make it match my other one. So this is my third one, my third round. When I get back around, I'm just gonna move my stitch marker up and start with my fourth, and I'll meet you back up here when I get done with my 12 rows. Okay, once you get all your rows done and you make it back to your stitch marker, I'm going to go ahead and just end it by slip stitching into the next stitch. Like that. And then I'm going to go to the next one and I'm just going to slip stitch one more time. And that'll kind of even out your round. And I'm going to pull up and then I'm going to clip off. Remove that. You don't need that anymore. And then I'm going to hide these tails with my yarn needle. We're almost done. So I'm just going to kind of weave it in the back here. So it don't come undone. It's nothing worse than it coming undone, like after you run it through the washer. Ugh. I hate that. It's harder to get it. It's hard to get it back together. Okay. Now, one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the top up here with a row of single crochet just to clean up this kind of jaggedy edge right here. So you can start anywhere you want. I'm going to start right about here. Okay, go in. I'm going to start off by chaining 1. Now I'm going to go back into that same stitch that I just slip stitched into and single crochet. And now I'm just going to work my way around, try to hide this tail as I go, putting 1 single crochet in the top of every stitch, just like this, and that'll make it a little bit cleaner looking at the top. And if you can, just try to hide these tails as you go. We don't have so much sewing in to do. Just like that. So I'm going to work that all the way back to the beginning. Okay, when you make it back to the beginning, you just want to end it by single crochet, or slip stitching, I'm sorry, into that first single crochet, like that. Pulling it up, and tying it off, and hiding that tail. I'll hide that tail in a minute, but that's it. That's all there is to it. So they're pretty easy. I think they turned out pretty cute, so that's probably about what you'll see of it. Actually, they look pretty good, I think. Probably give these to my sister, or my sister-in-law. She likes to wear boot cuffs, so I've given her several pair, but so she should have quite a collection. But that's all there is to it. It'd make a really good Christmas gift. Please don't forget to check out all my other tutorials too, and don't forget to check me out on Facebook. I'll put a link to my Facebook page below in the description box, and you can come over there and post all your crochet items on there. Everybody really like to see them. And until next time, have a good day.